Alright troops, how are you doing? It's Rob here, and welcome to my review of A Plague Tale Requiem. Now this is actually my first time doing a video like this, guys, and it was this game that inspired me to do it. So basically, normally when we complete a game, right, when we finish a playthrough, a walkthrough, a let's play, whatever you want to call it, we give our thoughts and opinions and a review of the game in the last episode during the credits. But the thing is, guys, that review tends to be the rawest, purest form of, well, personal bias, if you will. Because normally when you complete a game, you're full of emotion. And you could be spending days, weeks, sometimes even months playing that game. And when you finally get around to completing it, there's this disconnect where you're left feeling sad and you've got this empty, hollow feeling inside of you. And it can take days to shake that off, guys. It's a bit like watching a TV show, right? You've been watching this TV show for years and they suddenly announced that this season is going to be the last season. And the episode that you just got done watching was the last ever episode. The TV show that you spent 10 years of your life watching, where you have grown with the characters, is suddenly no more. It's gone. It's a horrible feeling, guys. And that's kind of how I felt when I completed A Plague Tale Requiem. Now, I don't know if you guys got a chance to look at my community tab on my YouTube channel. After I completed the game, I typed this paragraph and it was just me piling on all sorts of adoration and praise for the game, right? But I also said that the ending to the game completely destroyed me. And I'm not exaggerating, guys. It broke me. And there's only been one other game in all the years that I've been gaming. There's only been one other game that has affected me mentally like that. And that was Last of Us Part 2. You know the way, guys, where when you complete the game, you spend days obsessing over it afterwards, scouring the internet, reading every review for the game that you can find, watching streamers and YouTubers play it, spending time in the comments, watching people theorycraft, what they thought of the ending, how they feel the ending should have went, and where they feel the franchise or the series is going to go from here. So that's the reason why I decided to start recording separate reviews, because I completed A Plague Tale Requiem 8 days ago. So I'm now able to review the game objectively and take emotion out of the equation. And I think the reason this game hit me so hard, the reason it's so personal to me, is because the two main characters in A Plague Tale is Amicia and Hugo, and their siblings, brother and sister. And I just recently, within the last 2 years, lost my little sister. So I knew going into these games that it was going to be an emotional experience. And let me just say this, guys, it hit different. You know, it was an emotional roller coaster from the very first game right through to the very last game. It was this emotional roller coaster, but I'm glad that I got on it. Let's just say that. But I figured I might just start by saying, guys, that this game's an absolute masterpiece. 10 out of 10. Easily one of the best games I've ever played, and it has slotted itself in at number 2 on my favourite games list, right behind The Last of Us Part 2. That's right, guys, the two games that broke me mentally are my two favourite games. Okay, anyway, so we played the first game, A Plague Tale Innocence, on the channel a couple months ago, and I gave the game an 8 out of 10. But it should have been a 9 out of 10, guys, because for the first 15 chapters, it was a 9 out of 10. Until we got to the last chapter. The cart section, more specifically. If you know, you know. Where I died 19 times. And I genuinely thought, guys, I am not going to be able to finish this game. You know, and I got so frustrated and so angry that I ended up just bursting into tears off cam. Obviously, I was like, I can't do this. I love this game and I am not going to be able to finish it because of this one section. And that drastically affected my enjoyment of the game. So I brought it from a 9 out of 10 down to a 7. But then I was eventually able to get past that section. I went on and faced the final boss, and my god, the final boss for A Plague Tale Innocence was so fun. Like, once you understood the mechanics, it was just such a well executed boss fight, you know? And then we finished the story and I fell in love with the game all over again. So I brought it from a 7 up to an 8. In my heart, it should have been a 9 out of 10, but I had to stick with the review that I gave it at the time, which was an 8. And then I thought I made a terrible mistake, because what I should have done was jump from Plague Tale Innocence straight into A Plague Tale Requiem. But Silent Hill 2 had just come out just as I completed A Plague Tale Innocence, so I wanted to play Silent Hill 2 first. And I thought, oh, this could be a terrible mistake because it might break the immersion, you know? I might not be able to get into the second game as much, but it actually had the opposite effect. Because once I completed Silent Hill 2 and installed Plague Tale Requiem and turned it on, I was just, oh, I was so happy. I was overjoyed to be back in this world and to spend some time with these characters that I fell in love with in the first game. So yeah. So what did I like about A Plague Tale Requiem so much? Well, I liked everything, right? But there's two things that stand out to me, and I guess this can be applied to both Plague Tale games. There's two things that Asobo, the studio that made the game, did right. It had a good story, and it had good characters. Now, you could write the best story on the freaking planet, but if you don't have good characters to support that story, it ain't going to work. And you can even flip that and say, you could create the most likable, lovable characters, but if they don't have a good story, it just isn't going to work, right? So, in my mind, a good story and good characters is a winning formula. And like I said, Asobo, A Plague Tale, had that in spades. Not just that, guys, but the music for this game, oh my god. It was made by someone called Olivier, I think he's French, right? But I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his surname right. But his name is Olivier. Go to Spotify and just listen to a few songs from both soundtracks to see what I mean. He leans heavily on the cello, and it creates this unique sound that is just perfect for these games. The setting was also amazing. It was set during the 1300s, the 14th century. And the graphics were gorgeous. Like, I heard that because of the PS5's horsepower, they were able to have as many as 300,000 rats on the screen at any one time. That is insane. And if you didn't know, guys, if you haven't played both games, there's a lot of rats. So if you've got a rat phobia, if such a thing even exists, I would probably give this game a miss. So the premise of the game, right, is, or both games, right, is you've got Amicia and Hugo, and they are siblings, they are brother and sister, right? Hugo, I can't remember his exact age, he's either 7, 8 or 9, and Amicia is either 13 or 14. She might be older, but I think she's like 13 or 14. So these characters are really young, right? And Hugo is afflicted with something called the Macula, which is this disease of the blood, but it's an ancient disease that has existed since the beginning of time, right? And if that person dies of the macula, it just jumps onto another person. And it always hits newborns. It's not like it just jumps onto a fully grown man. It's always newborn babies that get hit. And the macula has the ability to control rats and spread the plague, right? That's the whole point of the game. You can actually control rats. Well, most of the two games, you're trying to avoid the rats by using light. Rats don't like the light, so you've got to progress through the game, progress through all the different areas, sticking to the light, and don't go into the darkness or you'll be devoured by the rats. But Hugo, who is the carrier of the macula, at times over the course of the two games, he is given the ability to control the rats. And if you're bitten by just one rat, you catch the plague, because plague is also another theme in these two games. So they're very dark games. The games have like cheerful, bright, uplifting moments where you get to see Hugo just be a child, you know? You get to see him tap into his childlike innocence. And those moments are a nice respite from all the darkness in the game. But then not long after you have a nice moment in the game, it turns sour really quick. Overall, they are very dark games. And basically, Amicia becomes Hugo's protector. You know, she is his big sister, and it's her job to keep him safe. And over the course of the two games, what the two of them go through on this adventure, guys, is just how the two of them are still upright after everything that they went through. It just baffles me, right? But it's all about, we're basically just trying to find a cure for Hugo, right? And along the way on this adventure, we meet all sorts of wonderful, amazing people. Lucas, who is roughly Amicia's age, he was the MVP of both games, guys. If it wasn't for Lucas and his alchemical knowledge, Amicia and Hugo would never have made it as far as they did. He is, without a doubt, my third favourite character in the game. And then you've got Beatrice, our mother. And then you've got Sophia, who was the leader of the smugglers. And then you've got Arnold, who was the leader of the mercenaries. And they end up becoming your unlikely friends. Even in the first game. You know, you've got Roderick, the blacksmith. And you've got Melly and Arthur, who are also brother and sister. Just these incredibly likeable characters that you stumble across in your adventure. And even the villains in the game, guys, are just, oh my god. The Count and the Countess. I'm not going to say anything else, but those two are the most vile, disgusting, despicable characters that you just love to hate. A good villain is someone that you love to hate, right? So, yeah. Hang on, let me think. What next? And like I said, guys, you know, the ending destroyed me. We're not really going to talk about it because if you haven't played the game and, you know, and you haven't watched the playthrough yet, you know, I don't want to spoil it for you, but the ending destroyed me. I just could not stop crying. I was a bubbling wreck, guys. It just, I just felt my soul being sucked out my body, you know, someone doing this with my heart and just, whew. And see, at the end, when the credits were rolling, I was just sitting there in like a stunned silence. And I knew right then that I'd played something really special. So yeah, it's definitely one of the best games that I've played. I don't know if there's going to be a third game. It certainly feels like they've finished the story of Amicia and Hugo, right? But they have left doors open where if they wanted to make a third game, if there was enough demand for a third game, they do have avenues that they could go down for a third game. But I think Asobo have said we don't really have any plans for a third game. Which is unfortunate, guys, because I just feel that if you're going to tell a story, you shouldn't tell it over 2 games. You should tell it over 3 games, right? If you're going to do more than 1 game, just commit to the trilogy, right? And they definitely could have done that. They could have extended Amicia and Hugo's story over 3 games. You know, they might have been stretching the story that they had pretty thin, but at least us, the fans, would have gotten more of this world, you know? I say that from a selfish standpoint, but yeah. So honestly, guys, if you have not played any of these 2 games, I highly recommend that you start with Plague Tale Innocence and then jump straight onto a Plague Tale Requiem. Experience both games together, right? And don't leave it months apart between playing both games. Just jump straight into the sequel and experience it, you know? Immerse yourself in this world. And I promise you guys, you are in for a treat. As I said, guys, 10 out of 10. I just wanted to start doing these reviews just as an excuse to talk about how much I loved the game. So, yeah. So that's my first review in the books. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the episode, leave a like. If you want to ask me anything, leave a comment. And if you'd like to see more videos of this, subscribe to my channel. And I will see you guys in the next episode.